What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to another edition of Dream Firm Spotlight. My name is Tyler S. Clark, co-founder of Dream Firms, where we help you to create your dream accounting firm significantly faster than you thought possible without getting overwhelmed or dealing with pain in the butt clients. And to help you on that mission, I would like to share with you the 3 most profitable accounting services in 2023. So number 1 is the service that is talked about quite a lot. And it is an incredibly valuable service because it has a very predictable, tangible, quantifiable result to your clients. And that result is related to the service of tax planning. Yes, tax planning. There is an increasingly widening gap between public demand for tax compliance and proactive tax planning services, right? Because the average business owner is getting smarter. And not only that, with the increase of the communication flow on social media, the proactive accountants who are marketing and making their differentiation clear to the market, they're saying, hey, if you were unaware of this, if you have not saved more in taxes last year because of the changes to the tax law, you're not getting the service you need. And they're seeing that over and over again. And they're, what is this tax planning thing? Am I paying too much? That's what they're thinking. And they're wondering. And then all of a sudden they go, maybe I should ask my accountant, or maybe I should just go and talk to the person who's continually talking about it, because my accountant never seems to talk about this service. So again, they're not interested in paying an arbitrary amount of money to the government, right? They need someone to connect them with tax saving strategies without putting their business in jeopardy. Thus, the rise in tax planning and / advisory services, not exactly the same thing, just to be totally clear. But again, the demand for tax planning is increasing. Business owners are smarter, and they still need someone to show them on how to save on taxes without breaking the law. Now, here are some statistics for you. Respondents shared that tax planning and advisory services have significantly higher fees than compliance services, with average fees, guys, I hate the F word, so let me retract that, with average prices of $2,351 per client. Now, I'll argue that that's still on the low side, but that's the average. So that means you got people out there who are slinging tax plans for significantly less than $2,000 or even $1,500 or $1,000, which is crazy. And then you've got people who are on the upper echelon that are in that 5, 10, 15. I was talking to Tom Wheelwright of Wealthability. He's quoted tax plans and sold them for north of 6 figures. I'm going to say that again. Quoted and sold tax plans north of $100,000. Why? How is that possible? Because the result is there. It's quantifiable. If you can save someone $400, is it unreasonable to charge $100? Is it even unreasonable to charge $200? I think not. Tax planning and advisory prices, on average, are 5 times more than tax preparation prices. 74% of tax firms surveyed deliver tax planning services, but only 62% get paid for those services. And again, what this means is you are delivering a tremendous amount of value. And oftentimes it's unpaid for. And here's the way I like to teach and coach my clients to understand this. Let's imagine for a moment that you have a brick of gold on your desk, okay? And a client walks in and they go, can I have that brick of gold on your desk? You would look at them like they have 10 heads. You'd be like, no, I paid a whole lot of money to get this brick of gold on my desk. So you absolutely cannot have it. Okay, let's go one step further. Client comes in and they go, hey, how can I save money on my taxes? And you go, here's the brick of gold. Here's the brick of gold, right? Here's all the money and time I invested to accumulate this knowledge. And simply because you asked for it, here you go. Now, since it's not a physical item, right, like a pair of headphones, we don't equate the monetary value with what it took to get it because it's so easy for us to give. And so if you want to keep that brick of gold on your desk, or if you want more gold in your bank account, you've got to be careful about how you let it exit your sphere of influence. Okay. So again, that is Service number one, just to be perfectly clear, it's tax planning. And let's get into service number two, the second most profitable service offered by accounting firms. And this is going to be virtual CFO services. However, I would like to change the language on this one more time. Again, I don't like the F word with fee, but I also don't like the term virtual CFO. And the reason I don't like the term virtual CFO is because when I hear that, I think I have a full-time CFO. Right? When someone says they're a virtual worker or a remote worker, I don't think that they are servicing a lot of different businesses. I think that they're working for one business, because when I say I have a virtual team member, that team member is usually working 40 hours a week for me, or maybe 20, but at most that. So the term that I much prefer to virtual CFO is fractional CFO, because the truth is when you're selling CFO services, you're not replacing a full-time CFO, generally speaking, because the companies that can afford that typically invest in it. The companies that can't afford a full-time salary of 150, 200, 250 with bonuses, they are going to say, I need a fractional CFO. So we have to be very careful about our language when we're using that. But regardless, right? Since COVID, right? You've heard it all, right, before. But the reality is that COVID forced many businesses to face that many tasks just can't be done as well virtually as they can in person. Now, supporting cloud technology and online security options have opened the door to remote CFO positions. This is just as much as an opportunity for small business owners as it is for entrepreneurial accountants. Now, the business owners get the expertise of a professional, a qualified CFO, that's you, and firm owners have way more flexibility. CFO services typically demand a higher rate, significantly higher rate than traditional tax filing or even just accounting services, and they offer incredible freedom and flexibility when compared to those alternatives. So to be clear, virtual CFO services and virtual CFO service demands, are on the rise. Cheaper for smaller business owners and therefore more efficient for firm owners. So when I say it's cheaper for the small business owner, it's cheaper compared to the alternative of a full-time CFO. They don't have any chance of doing that. But if they go ahead and say, well, I can get most of the value for a fraction of the price, now it's a great deal for them. And then it's made possible by tech and secure cloud software, right? This wasn't really possible going back a decade plus. It was even harder pre-COVID because so many businesses were still just used to that in-person relationship. But now that they've really had to shift and radically adopt internet, cloud computing, being able to have secure financials online, all of these things have accelerated how likely someone is to be saying, hey, you know what? I can actually consider a fractional CFO that is not in my office because we've adopted this technology. So stats, okay, some stats on the CFO side. So unlike installed software, right, when you have cloud hosting solutions where you're now able to pour into the business, it reduces the overall expenses by up to 50%. So those 50% of savings can be reinvested into high-level services. So by the adoption of these technologies, now they're able to say, wait a minute, we can get higher level expertise. So you should use this in your overall conversations because the money is going to get spent somewhere. It should be spent with you. And business owners that employed a CFO see an average yearly revenue increase of 15%. I'm going to say that again. Business owners that employed a CFO see an average yearly revenue increase of 15%. So if we just do some really simple numbers, if you increase a business's average, their literal, how much they're growing by 15% from your services, and it's $1 million business, that's $15,000. Excuse me, I'm way off. That's $150,000. So $150,000, I missed a decimal point there. $150,000, that's the increase by having you on board. Now we're starting to move into what is the value of advisory? What's the value of CFO? The tax planning side is a bit easier because you can literally show them the projections. It's not a guessing game. You can do the math. CFO, it's a little bit more of how do we make sure that they know that this is an investment that will pay off for them in the long term? And then again, you use the averages. And if the average is 15%, that means you've got companies that are way lower than that, more than 50% of them that are below that. And you've got 50% of them that are significantly above that. And so you want to use that to your advantage in the sales dialogue, because there are real numbers that back up why a CFO is not just a cost cutter, isn't just right? They're growing the size of the company by making smart financial decisions. And the final one here, and I'm so happy that we've been able to put these in different categories, because so often the three of these services get lumped into a singular thing. And it's just as bad as when you say, oh, I'm going to file your taxes, and you end up doing a whole bunch more than that for free. And when you lump all three of these services, they diminish the value of each of them. So to be clear, service number one is tax planning. Service number two is fractional CFO services. And service number three is advisory services. Notice these are not the same thing, but oftentimes they're treated as such. So advisory services, with tax filing and bookkeeping becoming increasingly automated. I'm not saying they are. I think we're still very far away from that being possible. But the truth is that you should be experiencing time savings from leveraging more and more technology. There's less demand for basic accounting services as a result, whether they are going through bench, whether they are just saying, you know what, I'm expecting you to be able to do a little bit more because I'm reading a lot, whether it's true or not, right? I'm expecting more from my relationship with my accounting and tax professional. So the demand, and this is a good thing, I have to emphasize this is not a bad thing. The demand for higher level insight is higher because they know that you are capable of more, and they are believing, whether rightfully so or not, they are believing that they can and should be receiving a higher level of service from you due to the time savings of the technology that's available. It's not a crazy point of view for a business owner to have that. And so when we lean into that and we embrace that, we recognize that business owners want someone to act as a financial advisor and not just punch the numbers and file taxes. And to be clear, financial advisory is different than advisory. But again, advisory is repositioning you from delivering a commodity to providing an irreplaceable resource of financial advice. And because of this, when you position yourself as an advisor, you command premium pricing. That's the way this works, right? And I want to just do one quick distinction here. I wasn't going to do this originally, but I wanted to give a little bit of extra insights. So when it comes to the advisor relationship, there's only two ways to think about it, okay? There's the new prospective client that's coming to you, and you've got to position yourself as an advisor from the start, okay? I'm going to talk about that in a second. The other option is you have an existing client, and maybe they have historically been a compliance type of client, right? Tax returns, just your standard books, right? And that's great. But now you're saying, and they're thinking, right? You want, and they're thinking, there's more to this relationship. How do you have that conversation? How do you present it the right way? And so the reason I bring this up is that we have two very specific scripts that help our clients with this, okay? One is known as the Client Advisory Ascension script. This is a ridiculously amazing resource to help you to do that. Now, I don't have time to go through the entirety of the script, but let me break down the highest level points of it for you. The first is that from when they signed up with you to where you are today, you have made massive investments in your firm. That's a given. You got your CPAs, you got all the technology, you got the hiring and training, you got the fact that there's less overall supply of qualified accountants in the market and supply and demand. So you know that prices have to go up anyway. But if you are now trying to take them to a higher level of service, you're stacking all of those tremendous advantages, all the things you've invested in. And now you're saying, plus, I'm going to do these additional things for you. Now, here's where most people lose the gumption, or they lose the opportunity to upsell an existing client. They will say, here's what you can do, right? I'd like to do this. And so what we're doing is we're giving them the option to stay where they are, which is a disservice to you. And more importantly, it's a disservice to the client. And you have to genuinely believe that, right? You have to genuinely believe in the value, the savings, the increase in the company's revenue. You have to genuinely believe these things are capable and extremely likely from your services. And so we go, yeah, if you don't want that, maybe we can strip that out, or maybe you just agree to the increased price on the basic services. And so people will typically default to what is comfortable. So how do you avoid that? Either or. Either you move up or you move out, right? Because at my firm, in my business, I only want to deliver the highest level of service that I know I'm capable of to the clients that fundamentally value it. And if that's not you, that's okay. And we'll finish out our engagement and we'll let you go. And you know that where are they going to go, right? Like, where do they have to go? They don't really have anywhere to go. And on top of that, even when they go somewhere else, they're not going to get a better price. And they're not going to even be able to get the same level of service delivery that you're offering. So I don't want to go too far on a rant on that, but the main thing is just make sure that it is well understood how much you've invested to get to this point since when they first started, where you're going in the future, and then it's up or out. So that again is for existing clients. Now for new clients, when you're positioning again yourself as an advisor for a new relationship, the problem, and it took me a long time to realize this, but I finally have a really excellent solution for it. The problem is you are still selling what everyone else is selling, and you're still selling it the same way. Okay, and here's what I mean by that. If I were to call and somehow magically get 10 firms to all decide to engage with me in a sales conversation, they would all sound fundamentally the same. And here's the way it goes. Okay, let me ask you some questions. Okay, it sounds like you need X, Y, and Z in terms of services, but I'm going to send you a quote. And actually, before I do that, I'm gonna do a deep dive into your QuickBooks, and I need to review your tax return, and I need to do all these things. Okay. And so I hear that, and I go, okay, great, no problem. You probably won't even ever hear from me again. Not because I would do that, but that's the standard way that most people will respond when they see a quote that's too high, they get an engagement letter that's too full of legalese and they don't understand, or they get a set of services that they don't feel actually meets what they need. They go, this person didn't really get it, right? So everybody just wasted a whole bunch of time, and you guys know how much I hate wasting time. So now here's the other way of approaching it, right? And this is where the rubber meets the road. You now offer something that is fundamentally different than what everyone else is offering. Okay, so when someone comes to one of our clients, now what they're doing is they're saying, listen, the truth is that if you were to ask a doctor what medicine to take after simply saying your heart hurt and you took that medicine, he'd be in jail and you'd be really sick. And so we don't do that here. We act just like a doctor does. We're going to run a comprehensive set of exams. We're going to make sure that we get all of the data we need to inform the best path forward for your financial health. Radically different. No firm is saying that. No one is saying that. And here's the best part is now my clients are getting paid for the work that they would normally have not been paid for, which is the QuickBooks deep dive, the 30 minutes of providing some guidance and advice on their situation so that they can build that rapport, the review of the tax returns. You guys know exactly what I'm talking about. That is normally totally unpaid, and doesn't even increase the chances of a sale. And so now they're getting paid, immediately positioning themselves as an advisor on the front end. And really what they're paying for is they're paying for a custom, you don't present it like this, but they're paying for a customized proposal that is specific to their situation. Now we've got a whole script that walks through the whole thing and make sure you know how to ask the questions and frame it the right way. But that's the difference, is that you can now immediately start the relationship as an advisor, as opposed to starting the relationship with compliance or starting the relationship with what it sounds like everybody else does. Hint that's why everyone goes a commodity, right? Because it sounds and looks like everything else. But now they go, oh, this is different. Well, this is really different. This is desirable. This is something I want. I want to pay for expertise. I want to get invested in it. I want to have a complete financial understanding of what's going on in my business. And then you'll be able to tell me exactly what I need in terms of services and how much I would need to invest in those services. Can you see? I think a few people are connecting the dots. Again, more on that later, but I just want to provide a little context on kind of how that works. So again, tax planning, right? Most profitable services, tax planning, CFO, fractional CFO services, and advisory services. And this is how you are able to get away from commoditization if you know how to upsell your existing clients and if you know how to position yourself on the front end as the advisor. And some quick stats here, just to close this out on the advisory side. So the top skills requested by business owners from their accountants is relationship building, 46%. And I think that there's even more that can be done from that, just from you being a great connector, because you're so plugged into the business communities. Like that's really not necessarily relationships with you, but helping to facilitate and foster additional high-level relationships for those business owners, your insurance, your financial planners, your bankers, right? You leveraging those. Business advisory is second at 44%. And experience outside accounting is the last one. And that's what I want to end on here. Yes, automation's coming. ChatGPT might look a little scary. It's been coming for the last 15 years. I'm not here to sound the alarm bells, but what I am here to say is that the people who felt like that they were doomed when the computer came out doomed themselves. When they said, we're going to stick with paper. The people who felt they were doomed when the internet came out and QuickBooks Online came out and they refused to do it and they wanted to stick with without cloud computing, they doomed themselves. The people who are looking at AI or the people who are looking at advisory and the increased desire and need for it, and they're looking at that and they're saying, I'm not going to do it, they doomed themselves. They doomed themselves because each of these were steps to a higher level of profitability for you and your firm, but you have to embrace it. You can't be reactive. You have to be this at every phase of your business, especially when game-changing things come along. And as long as you keep on that, as long as you stay proactive and you keep leveling up your skill sets, you keep leveling up your beliefs, and you keep leveling up your character traits, you'll create your dream firm faster than you ever thought possible. So I hope you enjoyed today's presentation. My name is Tyler S. Clark. Thank you so much for investing your most precious resource with me. And remember that only you can create your dream firm, but we are here to help you every single step of the way. Have a fantastic rest of your work week. And if you're looking to gain access to the scripts and a whole lot more in the way of services, there'll be a link floating around somewhere down below. Book your call and understand how the Create Your Dream Firm program can change your life.